Together we win. Ppda, with support from GIZ Uganda, presents Together we win.
We had some furniture missing.
Contracts would be abandoned. Gross misuse of offices.
We have a limitation in terms of
You have to take a car, you have to drive into the field, go and monitor a thing. That takes a lot of resources.
Katwaganiraho n'abasivo soyate bwanyuma y'obwire buke machine use.
All these civil society organizations give timely intervention.
Together we win is a documentary that examines the ways in which the working collaboration between the Ppda and the procuring and disposing entities PDEs and civil society organizations CSOs fosters a culture of transparency and accountability, which in turn improves service delivery. We will also investigate how technological innovation is advancing public procurement management. Chisuba Seed Secondary School, located in Bundikuyali Village, Bundibujo District, is testimony to how civil society organizations have helped ensure value for money in public projects. The school received funding of over 1,900 million shillings, purposed to build an ICT lab, library, administration block, multi-purpose block, science laboratory, latrines, water tanks and other external works. The school management was shocked when the contractor handed over incomplete work.
We kept on moving up and down, the COW's office, the DO's office, the engineer's office. Nothing was done, not until a team came from Anti-Corruption.
Rwenzori Anti-Corruption Coalition, RAC, is a non-profit organization operating across all 10 districts in the Rwenzori region. The organization specializes in the areas of transparency and accountability. When Chisuba Secondary School management drew the matter to their attention, they immediately contacted the contractor, who committed to finishing the work.
Indeed, we saw the contractor coming in and working tirelessly day and night.
All the missing equipment, from the burglar-proof to laboratory facilities, IT lab equipment and furniture was put in place. The plumbing system was installed. Some schools of thought hold that this would not have been possible with the immediacy it took if RAC had not intervened.
With the government, there's a lot of procedure you follow, warnings, etc. With the RAC, it is a shortcut. For them taking to court, it is just very easy.
The Ppda is fully aware of the civil society organization's potential, which is why the entity is working with them. According to the Constitution's 2003 Ppda Act and the subsequent 2014 and 2021 amendments, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority is a government organization that is responsible for directing and regulating the purchase and sale of assets and property under the control of government. To this realization, Ppda operates under the following objectives. 1. Ensure the application of fair, competitive, transparent, non-discriminatory, and value for money procurement and disposal standards and practices. 2. Advise government on procurement matters. 3. Set standards. 4. Monitor compliance of the procurement and disposal office team. 5. Build capacity of the procurement and disposal entities in Uganda. This is a major duty considering the scope of the national initiatives covering 350 entities across Uganda, as well as all our embassies and missions abroad.
What are those government entities? District local governments, universities, hospitals, schools. As long as it is a government institution and it procures, we cover them.
They're supposed to submit monthly reports for the local governments or for the MDAs, ministries, departments and agencies.
On top of reviewing performance reports, the authority reviews preparatory and contract audits, reviews and provides guidance on annual plans, and undertakes the compliance inspections to ensure that there is value for the huge sums of money that the government invests in public projects.
Government provides services to citizens through budget.
And over 60% of government budget constitutes procurement.
Supervising all these purchases and services is a very demanding requirement.
we conduct procurement audit. They are on a sample basis. We can't cover what the government takes.
The Ppda Secretariat, headquartered in Kampala, Uganda's capital city, at the Ppda URF towers along Nakasero Road, is unable to adequately cover the entire country. To be able to bring services closer to the stakeholders and the public, Ppda opened up regional offices, starting with the Northern Region Office, which was opened up in 2015 in Gulu City on Plot 1 Lower Churchill Drive, behind the Boma Hotel. The office oversees the Acholi, Lango and West Nile regions. In 2016, the Western Uganda Regional Office was opened in Mbarara at the RDC's building, Bishop Stretcher Road, opposite the Bank of Uganda Currency Center, along Mbarara Kabale Road. It covers Western Uganda, including the Rwenzori, Kigezi and Ankole regions. The Eastern Office, which was opened in 2018, is in Mbale at the Oval Plaza, 1 Court Road. The Central and Southern regions are managed by the Secretariat. The regional offices have played a critical role in bringing the authority closer to the service delivery points.
There have been some achievements. Right now, if a procurement has taken place in any government entity and a file is requested, you're going to get the records. Even the register of providers, the numbers have increased. At the time, if somebody wanted to register, they had to go to Kampala. Not many people could do that.
The proximity within communities and Ppda's walk-in policy are also helping the authority get timely information about ongoing projects.
It's a very good tool for the citizens to express their concerns. So they have information on a project. We can alert one of our monitors to actually take up the issue.
Another important driving force is the Ppda's capacity to react quickly to complaints and inputs from sources of information. Every month, the Ppda team convenes. One of the topics they discussed in today's meeting was the findings of the inspection that the office carried out at the Kisoro District Local Government's Morigamo Health Center. They had received information suggesting that the contractor had received payment in full before the project was finished, and that the recently built structures already had cracks in them.
One of the allegations were crack had developed before handover, no visible crack on the wall, the roof, or anywhere.
Compile a small report basing on the allegation.
Observers speculate that the contractor may have discovered that the Ppda regional office had received a complaint and was going to audit the project, so they fixed any irregularities before the Ppda investigating team showed up. The communities and stakeholders continue to work with Ppda because they see the value of these success stories. They have also come to understand the authority's relevance to their needs as citizens, individuals and members of the community. In spite of the gains made due to the existence of regional offices, which have helped to bridge gaps created by the long distance from the communities where the public projects are executed, studies that the authority carried out to assess its performance show that the Ppda is still unable to carry out its mission in an effective manner because of the various challenges it faces.
We have a limitation as the authority in terms of capacity, outreach, even in terms of staffing, in terms of the funding, in terms of tools, like vehicles to reach out to where these contracts are in. So
take an example of the Ppda's Eastern Region Office covering over 30 districts, municipalities and various entities to oversee, like the fruit factory in Soroti, 2 public universities, 3 regional referral hospitals and Soroti Flying School, among others. Similarly, the Western Region Office covers 45 entities, such as the newly created cities of Mbarara and Fort Portal, 3 public universities, 3 regional referral hospitals, 8 municipalities and 28 districts. The Northern Region covers more than 40 PDAs, comprising 3 cities, more than 15 municipalities, 2 public universities and 4 regional referral hospitals. All these entities must comply with the Ppda regulations, and it is the responsibility of the regional office to ensure that they comply. But how do these small teams manage?
We have 6 senior officers, and these officers averagely are tasked to handle between 8 and 10 entities. Actually, the officers have gone a mile to even profile these entities, because we need to know who are the accounting officers, how stable is the procurement and disposal unit, what have been the unique or peculiar issues, and it's through that strategy that we're able to reach out.
These innovations notwithstanding, being thin on the ground inhibits Ppda from efficiently exercising its supervisory role. One such case is the inability to conduct on-spot investigations. The PPDA does not shy away from acknowledging its limitations. Rather, it has embarked on searching for solutions.
The civil society organizations were doing work with IG, Inspectorate of Government, and with Auditor General. And then we said, why don't we partner with the CSOs to see how they can help in contract monitoring, given that we are thin on the ground and they usually have wider coverage.
In collaboration with GIZ, we partnered with CSOs in every part of this country.
GIZ Uganda is a German development agency that has been supporting development work in Uganda since 1964. PPDA is one of the entities that GIZ has been supporting under the Governance and Civil Society program. They found PPDA's proposal to work in collaboration with CSOs very prudent.
You have to take a car, you have to drive into the field, go and monitor. That takes a lot of resources. And we know there's a lot of projects, constructions happening. So by linking these CSOs with the PPDA, we had an opportunity of PPDA extending their outreach.
For about 5 years now, GIZ has been running a large governance program that is spread across the country. It is this expansive network that PPDA tapped into. Fortunately, this is an initiative that also spoke to the European Union, which is funding the program, from which PPDA was eyeing to recruit partners.
Civil society organizations have been playing a key role in delivering those basic services to the populations. That's why the EU globally supports civil society as a key actor for development.
Furthermore, the intervention seeks to enhance the partnership between government and civil society in Uganda.
Civil society has a key role in terms of development, but it has to be coordinated also with government action.
PPDA kicked off operations with the mapping tour, which they conducted together with GIZ. 12 organizations were identified. These are the Apache Anti-Corruption Coalition, TAC, Western Ankole Civil Society Forum, Bushenyi, WACSOF, Rwenzori Anti-Corruption Coalition, RAC, Tesu Anti-Corruption Coalition, TAC, Kick Corruption Out of Kigezi, Uganda, KICU, Mid-Western Region Anti-Corruption Coalition, MIRAC, Mayank Anti-Corruption Coalition, Karamoja Anti-Corruption Coalition, CAC, Ppda Civil Society Network, Bokonet, Anti-Corruption Coalition of Busoga, ACOB, Lango Civil Society Network, Lakson, and Tororo Anti-Corruption Coalition, TAC. In 2019, PPDA went ahead to launch a framework that provided mechanisms for collaboration between the authority, PPDA, procuring and disposing entities, PDEs, and civil society organizations, CSOs. PPDA is, among other things, obliged to facilitate CSOs' work by providing timely access to procurement information and training CSOs in monitoring public procurement. The PDA's obligations include, but are not limited to, sharing with CSOs the approved annual plans and any updates to them, conduct joint field activities with CSOs, and where possible, conduct entry meetings with CSOs to agree on expectation. Activities were preceded by a training, which PPDA organized in partnership with GIZ Uganda.
Because of the capacity building we got from the beginning, we are able now to identify the different procurements that were taking place.
And now we turned our focus from those small contracts to large contracts that are implemented by high-spend entities, UNRWA, Ministry of Education, Ministry of KCCA. Find a contract of 500 million, one contract, when even 500 billion, when actually, like a district, I mean, their whole budget for all contracts doesn't even reach 20 billion.
All partnering CSOs have monitors who operate from deep within the communities. This has expanded PPDA's reach, enabling it to get to the grassroots in remote areas. Thanks to this intervention, contractors are beginning to realize that it is no longer possible to get away with delivering thin air, let alone substandard work, as the Rwenzori Construction Group discovered. Rwenzori Construction Group was awarded a contract to develop and equip a coffee factory for the Rwengeri Farmers Group in Chamarira.
Twaza mu DFCU twasayiningire sente miliyoni 2.5 batwica papara cha account ya musabode twazisindikire bwanyuma habe hawire nkomwaka n'ekicweka mashini yize mashini konka kiyizire terahwireyo yona.
They reported the matter to the Bushenyi Best West Ankole Civil Society Forum, WACSOF, and when the WACSOF team got to the ground, they discovered that the Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, was also the owner of Renzo Reconstruction Company. The CAO is reported to have taken advantage of his position to deprive beneficiaries of any access to the project information. WACSOP was, however, able to tap into the access to information obligation that the Ppda collaborative framework implores, procuring and disposing entities provide.
So the relationship with Ppda enables us to create this other relationship with the office of the RDC and with the DSO. In fact, most of the information we got and used under that was generated by the office of the DSO.
Equipped with all the necessary project information, the WACSOF team went on the ground, only discovered that the entire procurement process had been mishandled by failing to comply with procurement processes, conflict of interest, substandard work, mismanagement of funds, and collusion between government officials and community members. WACSOF went ahead to follow up on all the 17 groups in Bushenyi that benefited from this World Bank-funded project. They discovered that most of the contracts had been mismanaged, such as this case of the 160 members Coffee Growers Society, Nyangatweka, just a stone throw away from Rwenge Farmer Group.
Twahebwa esente za grant agukombekerwa factory ezabenzingana milioni 2.8 n'emitwalo 5. We contribution zikazi milioni 10.36 n'emitwalo 5. Party ya Bwombeka ekaherwa ekitongole kibakweta Rwenzori Engineering Works. Kandi empatani eyabatwire machine tukatuzinga musabode Engineering Limited. Konka nube batwire machine ezo aho ebicweka bimwe bice byasigireyo.
The company carved into pressure and gave the farmers equipment, but after WACSOF's inquiry was complete, the contractor went back and retrieved it. Because the communities would not have been able to reach out to Ppda, the contractor may have gotten away with collecting the equipment after the authority closed investigations. But the proximity of WACSOFs made it possible for the farmers to notify the organization about the equipment's withdrawal.
Through these interventions and collaborations with the civil society organizations, we are able to achieve more without having physical presence in each and every entity.
The collaboration had also served to foster positive working relationships between employees of Ppda and CSOs, which elements have contributed to the significant outcomes that the partnership is producing so quickly.
Ppda has supported. When you engage them, they'll come on ground, conduct a procurement audit.
Knowing that CSOs have Ppda's backing is making contractors more efficient, knowing as they do that the watchdog can bite.
We have another stick of blacklisting under Section 94 of the Ppda Act. We can blacklist a failed contractor who has actually failed to meet the contractual obligation. And blacklisting means a lot.
One such case is the incident in Dokolo District, where the Anti-Corruption Coalition TAC worked together with PDAs to interdict the accountant of Adekimo sub-county. It came to TAC's attention that the sub-county accountant had misappropriated the funds meant for procuring tree seedlings for the community.
It was simply a gross misuse of offices. No evidence of work, because the nursery should have been raised here, nurtured here, and distributed.
This is one of the advantages of collaborating with civil society organizations. Their monitors reside in the locations where the projects are being implemented, so they can keep an eye on things as they happen. This is how TAC was able to get the local government involved in the situation before the offenders' justifications had a chance to hold water. Despite the benefits of working with locally based CSOs, it was still difficult to receive reports on time and respond to them quickly. This was the case for the organizations to send information to Ppda and get prompt responses, but the organizations were also finding it hard to get timely reports from field monitors. The resource straining and time-consuming nature of the paper-based reporting, as provided for in the collaborative framework, which regulates how partners work, has been inhibiting full exploration of the partnership.
We decided that what if we get this paper-based tool and digitize it?
Actually, Ppda has already started on the road to digitizing procurement processes. In 2015, the Ppda developed a government procurement portal, GPP, with an aim of publishing contract information and make it accessible to the public. Studies by Africa Information Center found that what was happening in the annual plans was not necessarily what was being implemented.
For every 5 contracts which were accessed, 4 were not reflected in respective procurement plans, which under the law means a diversion of funds.
On July 1st, 2021, Ppda launched the EGP, a web-based system that covers the procurement cycle, right from procurement planning, bidding evaluations, award contract management, evaluation of invoicing and payment for supplies, works, consultancies and services. The plan was to deploy all government institutions after 3 years. This transparency sought to open procurement processes to the public, but the system hasn't fully addressed the challenges of contract monitoring.
Yeah, the file could be good, but what is on ground? And we had discussions with GIZ. They agreed to support the digitalization.
You could just see that it was very expensive to get these reports, papers out to the monitors. If you take pictures, you have to print it and add it onto it. Not very good reports, and actually very few ever reached Ppda. And also then if you're sending a monitor to do a monitoring and they do it on the paper, this flow of information is not very efficient.
GIZ went ahead to support the establishment of a digital monitoring system, which was dubbed the Contract Monitoring System, CMS. It is a digital platform that aids effective contract monitoring by providing partnering CSOs with a digital tool to capture essential data about procured projects that they are monitoring.
Someone from Kawale, when he gets this information, in the village where this project is being implemented and he has just seen a building collapsing or a Ppda train dug 2 feet and they build, or there is no dug Ppda train but there is a building coming up. You can take a picture, and put a video, post it on the system.
After successfully instituting the system, GIZ supported the authority in enabling the partnering CSOs to effectively utilize the system by providing them with the relevant gadgets, such as mobile phones and computers. They also organized capacity building workshops for the CSO staff. After setting up the required equipment and training them, the contract monitoring system was launched in April 2022.
Osobola kukora when you are offline.
Upon returning to their organizations, the advocacy officers that had been trained by Ppda also trained their colleagues back home. Soon after, the impact of a digitalized monitoring system is evident. Because of the evidence-based reporting, CSOs are able to enforce contractual commitments and gain value for money without having to escalate issues to the Ppda Secretariat or regional offices.
CMS system is a great milestone because if you can be able to monitor projects just at the click, then the dashboard view gives you a helicopter kind of perspective of what is happening in the region and give timely intervention.
We capture information through it. It comes from the grassroots where the project is, then through our system, it goes to the verifier. Then the verifier in my organization is like the advocacy officer. So what the advocacy officer looks at the issue, then if it needs more data, he will send it back to the monitors to beef up the information. But if it's okay, then they'll forward it to me. Who is the approver? I will analyze the issue and see who is the right person to address this issue.
There are times when CSOs escalate a matter to Ppda, or Ppda reaches out and gives guidance, or joins CSOs in the field.
Before we go out to do any compliance assessment, we look at the tool. We had a compliance audit in Mitoma. 5 out of the 10 cases sampled were from the system.
There are also incidences where Ppda takes up the matter because while the CSOs are monitoring, Ppda is following every step of the way through the Contract Monitoring System, CMS.
TAC rate flagged this project for shoddy work. You can see that instead of doing the casting with concrete, they actually used papyrus rates.
Find out from the entity if they had a performance bond on this contract. And if the performance bond was executed, the entity can quickly cash that performance bond and enable them to arrive at the new contractor to finish the project.
Working together with Ppda's Northern Regional Office, TAC mobilized the district authorities to enforce the Secretariat's recommendations. As such, the scrupulous contract was terminated. The company was also blacklisted from getting any further contracts in Amolata district.
Later,
We again saw another contractor. He left the first pit and he selected another site. The first pit was threatening. A mother would just go there to drop the placenta. Then the think with that mother down, which would cause death.
The contract monitoring system will help eliminate many of the obstacles that have been impeding efficient procurement management. In April 2022, barely a year after its inception, 339 public projects had been monitored. By the end of 2023, 207 had completed the required steps. 41 had been referred for further verification, and 90 projects were still in process, awaiting confirmation from the relevant CSOs. The completed projects have yielded good financial returns. As resources get scarcer, Ppda is searching for more ways to explore technology while still fulfilling its supervisory duties.
We can use e-audits. That way we don't have to run around with fuel and vehicles.
The pioneering strides that Uganda has taken in digital monitoring are serving as a model for other East African nations looking to digitize their procurement systems. An example of this is the recent benchmarking visit from the Public Procurement in Tanzania Authority.
We have found imperative to come and learn on how this portal, which was developed for the sake of monitoring of the implementation of the contract emanated from the public procurement.
Locally, the central monitoring system is being customized to meet the needs and preferences of local communities. PALISA Civil Society Organization Network, Procurement, is one such organization that has modified Ppda's framework for collaboration with CSOs and PDs to form a partnership with residents in Budaka and Chibuku to take part in social accountability and governance.
Power belongs to the people. So whatever government plans for people. That inspired us to go to community and really engage them.
They therefore targeted organized groups in the communities, including youth, women, saloon owners, boda groups, market vendors, and many more. The group's representatives meet the local leadership and share information on their conclusions. Their findings are backed by evidence.
They had stolen money. That was the SAS and the accountant. Now we involved our parish councillor. The parish councillor also involved the chairperson 3. The chairperson 3 also involved the district team. The accountant was like, okay, the money in the office.
Procurment's intervention speaks to Ppda's vision of involving citizens in procurement processes.
We have got stakeholder engagement. How are we dealing with other stakeholders? Still, the CMS sits well within that objective.
For now, the authority is exploring technology.
And I want the staff to be proactive, not to wait until there are so many cries all over the country and then you start being reactionary. So in other words, we should constantly challenge the status quo for better improvement.
Digital monitoring system is a critical asset to this realization because it enables faster, real-time, cost-effective monitoring of public projects countrywide. This leveraging of technology, which would be further enhanced through constructive collaborations with CSOs who are monitoring projects as they are being implemented, coupled with the coordination between CSOs and the procuring and disposing entities who are the government buyers, are all making the proactive agenda possible, strategically positioning Ppda to actualize the mission to promote service delivery through effective regulation of the public procurement and disposal system. This documentary was brought to you by Ppda, thanks to the proud support of GIZ Uganda.